Hello and welcome to Organic Edible Garden. It's a nice day today, but we've had a really wet spring. And even though it's not the optimal moon calendar time to plant them, I'm going to put in my zucchini today. We're also going to go and look at our quick turnaround salad bed. Then our potatoes are now sprouting, so we need to cover them, and we're going to put in an insectary. Zucchinis take a lot of space, so you really want to give them about 1 metre square. In a bed this size, I'm going to put 3 plants in. But for your average home garden, 1 plant is more than enough because they're really productive plants. They're also not that long lived. You probably get 10 to 12 weeks of these guys. So what you want to do is put one in now, and then after Christmas put a second one in. Another reason for giving them a lot of space is for air movement. I've got a good airflow through here, and that helps prevent diseases. If you're at home and you're in a raised bed, you can also put it in the corner of the bed and let it flow over the side and let the air go through. Another important thing about zucchinis is give them really rich soil. I've enriched this with a lot of organic material. They're gross feeders, but they reward you well. This was our old brassica bed, and they've robbed all the nutrients out the soil. So I'm going to fertilise it well afterwards. But with the fertiliser, I'm going to put it on the top of the soil rather than dig it in. Let the earthworms and the rain do the rest. The variety I'm planting is a dark green type called Parthenon. This is a more modern variety, and the reason I'm choosing it is because it's more resistant to powdery mildew, which is a problem in our area. This variety is also parthenocarpic. Now this means that you're only going to get female flowers. And the benefit at this time of year is if we have bad weather and the rains come, the bees don't come out. But every flower is self-fertile and it'll become a fruit. These beds are raised, and the benefit of that is the soil warms up a lot quicker in the morning. Also, if we get a lot more rain, at least it's got good drainage. Now with the warm, moist weather, these guys are going to take off really quickly, and they'll probably start fruiting in about 3 or 4 weeks. The important thing with zucchinis is you've got to keep picking them, even if you don't need them. Overnight they can turn from a zucchini to a marrow. Unless you love marrows, it's a bit of a problem. Because once they become marrows, it sends a signal to the plant that it's over and it needs to set seed, and they stop producing new zucchinis. Apart from adding a good type of compost to your bed, I need to feed them with a good nitrogen fertiliser. You can use a bit of blood and bone or even sheep pellets, but I'm going to use some chicken manure. Now the chook poo is going to give it a nice nitrogen boost, which is great for its leaf growth and get it established. But I want some phosphorus in the soil, and that's going to set the flowers. So I'm going to use some volcanic rock. This will also make the plants nutrient dense. Now we're just going to give it a bit of water. And this isn't because the soil is dry, it's just that I want to embed the rock dust and the fertiliser into it. Now when the leaves get bigger and off the ground more, we're just going to give it some mulch underneath, and it'll hold the moisture in the ground. This is our short-term salad crop bed, and it's doing okay. The red batavias we put in have done really well. And like all batavias, they're really strong growers. They don't mind the difference between the cold temperatures and the hot temperatures, so they're a real trooper. Our next crop was our large leaf rocket, which has gone to seed, and so has our mesclun and our tatsoi. Nothing really affects the mustard lettuce at the end. That's a real trooper and just keeps going. It's gone to seed simply because we haven't been bothered picking it. And if you don't pick it, it's just the way nature works. It wants to reproduce itself. Other reasons for it going to seed are lack of nutrients and water in the soil, or at this time of year, having really cold nights and warm days will often send a plant to seed. However, it's never wasted on me. I want the beneficial insects to come into the garden and stay in the garden, so I need something flowering at all times of the year. And these guys are great for the bees, the hoverflies and the parasitic wasps. The other great thing about these flowers is they're all edible. You can add them to your salads, and that includes any of your brassicas like your tatsel or your mesclun mixes. They taste just as nice, but just sweeter. But if you want to keep eating the leaves from these plants, the best thing you can do is just chop them back hard, give them a bit of feed up, and the new leaf growth will come out. Our salad bed's flowering well, but it's coming out shortly, and I'll need something for my beneficial insects to live on, so I'm going to plant an insectary at the top end of my potato bed. Our cheddar potatoes that we planted 2 weeks ago in this bed have now come up. The early season crop, the Cliff's kidneys, have come up much quicker than our main season crop, the Agria, and that's just because of the type of potatoes they are. And the Cliff's kidneys we also put in our black pot, because of the sunshine and warmth it gets, have even grown quicker. But they're at a point now we've got to start hilling them up and putting soil around them before they get too tall. The next thing we're going to do is plant our insectary. And the plants I've chosen for this are really sort of hardy, long-lived annuals. We're doing things like some of our zinnias and our tall-growing cosmos. We've done some chrysanthemums and some scabiosas. And even some of the old asters and cornflowers will go in as well. The reason I've chosen these flowers over other types of flowers is because they provide a lot of pollen and nectar for the bees. They've usually got a really, really big flower and they'll sit on that for hours and take what they need. I'm planting the smaller plants at the front because this is north facing here and I don't want them shaded out by the taller things like cosmos and zinnias. Things like your scabiosas, your daisies, your zinnias and cosmos, they're really old-fashioned cottage garden flowers. They were planted because they had a long season and you could also pick them if you wanted to. And I'm not worried all of these guys are planted really close together because they're going to be supporting each other. And even though I don't need to feed these guys strong, I'm going to give them some rock dust. This is high in phosphorus, which will help flowering, and will just make everything stronger in the garden anyway. And now for good watering, just to wash it in the soil.